Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Joy Life Center Coaching and Consulting. It's me, your life coach, Andrea Jackson. Hey, we got a few people that's waiting. I just looked up and there's a couple of more. So we're going to go ahead and bring them into the group and we're going to get started. Good morning, guys. I'm just looking to see who has their audio on. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. I looked up for the first caller. I always wait till there's at least one other caller. So for the first caller, your wait sometime is a little longer. And today that would be Sister Lupe. Thank you so much for your patience. I looked up, there was one caller. I was waiting on two. And then we got the two callers. And then I turned my head and I came back and it was four callers. I'm loving the energy that I'm experiencing from you guys, because this means that we're experiencing some momentum in our life change. We're experiencing something good, and therefore we're calling in and we're continuing to tap into what's good for us relentlessly. Relentlessly, not just continuously, but relentlessly. And sometimes that momentum has to build up. But I see with many of you, that momentum has built to a place of fire, and some of you have built to a place of a spark, and some of you have built to a place where I'm going to make this happen. Regardless to where you are, remember, in the stage or the wheel of change, I want you to know that you're in change, and that's what's important. So congratulations. I had to one day have a dream in order to be where I am today. And that dream may not have had anything to do with where you are today. I'll tell you about a quick conversation that I had with my little one this morning. We were talking about faith and how God takes faith as our measure of trust and confidence in him to show us and others in our circle, others in our sphere of influence, how great he is and how powerful he is. So some of you, he's going to be moving you and pressing you into areas that are greater than what you're able to do on your own, because he wants to show himself. Because if I can go out and buy a pencil. That's nothing. I can go purchase a marker. I get a highlighter. I might even can get two. So God is not going to tell me, hey, I need you to go and purchase a highlighter, unless it's a part of a larger plan. He's going to always press us to do something that is greater than our ability, because now we're stepping out into the realm of faith. We're tapping into the realm of God. We're tapping into a realm. We're moving from that place of man's extremities. I've pressed to my extreme. This is the final part of me. My extremity is no more into God's opportunity. Faith stretches us into God's opportunity. As I was talking to him, he was telling me that when I flagged the coach down before he started playing football, he said when we were at the park just kind of having a good time, and I saw that they were playing football, so I began to talk to the coaches, and I asked I signed him and my other nephew up for football. And he said he really in his heart didn't want to play football. He had said it, he had pondered it, thought about it. Remember that dreaming state. Kind of dreamt on it a little bit, but he just couldn't see himself playing football. So I kept taking him to practice and kept taking him to practice. And then they had their first game. He said he was so nervous that he passed out. He said he almost passed out. But I tell you, he equates it to faith. He said he went ahead and he did it, and now he loves playing football. So in order for God to stretch us, we have to identify that is God taking us beyond our own abilities, beyond our own limitations, beyond our own enablements. And faith is that bridge that stretches us into God's opportunities. So I told him, I say, wow, you might become a famous NFL player now. I told him, I'm not pushing you in that direction. He said, oh, you want me to be an NFL player? Because guess what? He looks at that as faith. And I am never going to take that from him. Whether it was just a molding of life, it was definitely God's grace. But he looks at it, if I hadn't have went, if I would have just said, nah, auntie, that's okay, and I hadn't went, but he had faith, and he just obeyed in the way that he could. And he says now he loved football. He said uncle told him you're going to love it more when you start taking hits. And he said once I started getting into contact, he said, I love it more. So now he's building in it. So I want to say to someone on this line, because this is not where I was going this morning, I want to say in 2023, have faith in God. Have confidence in your steps in God. Be intentional in what you do. Your extremes, they're limited. The best that I can do is limited. I probably can comfortably go buy a marker. Probably not even two right now. I probably can only afford one marker, but God may say, I need you to go buy a marker. I need you to go buy a pen, and I want you to get a fan. Woo, that's out of my circumference, God. That's out of my comfort zone. I only got $1. The 99-cent store ain't the 99-cent store anymore. But God wants us to take steps of faith so that he can meet us there, so he can show us not only will you get the marker, not only will you get the pen, not only will you get the fan, but you're going to see me move in greatness. So whoever that was for, God bless you. Good morning to each and every one of you. I want to say again, have faith in God. And the way that we move in faith to get to our next is once we learn better, we do better. So one thing we're going to be talking about today is external triggers. So with faith, what triggers me to not have faith in God? What triggers me to turn my back and run? What triggers me? So in my moving forward, what triggers me to my unhealthy behaviors? That's why we're here. What triggers me to continue in my unhealthy behaviors? Sometimes we, before we came onto this line, because one of the things, and you guys help me if you can, one of the things that I'm trying to do is figure out a language. And please, if you think of something, text me, call me. I'm figuring out a language because, as you know, this is my personal business. I want to be able to come to a place where I can bring people into healthy change while at the same time doing what I love and getting paid for it, because I got to live too. I'm gonna have a healthy change and don't have no place to live. So one of the things that I want to do is bring people into healthy change, whether it's one person at a time. Again, my theme song for this year is William Murphy, Just Us. Even if it's just us, it's still enough of us. We're going to change the world. So I want you to receive the change, because when you receive your change, then you're going to take it out to others and they're going to receive their change. And whatever mandates that God has on your life in this season, you're going to be freer to walk those out without slipbacks, without backsliding, as we call it, or without that turnaround, retreat. Without retreating, we'll have a mind to go forward. Life is going to have slip-ups. Life is going to have slip-ups. It's life. These slip-ups, remember, from this moment on, as I shared yesterday, are teaching moments. They're not wrong. They're teaching moments. We are human. So our human experiences, guys, gets us to the place where we can identify our external triggers. We're going to talk about external triggers. If we have time, we're going to talk about internal triggers. If not, we'll talk about internal triggers tomorrow, but we're definitely going to talk about it, because guess what? It's all a part of me identifying where my perimeters are. For those of you that drive, you know that there's always lines in the road. I hate driving the Big Bear, but I'll do it because the part of the drive where it's only one lane up around this spiral mountain, and there's only one lane back. And guess what? If I bleed the line, I'm either going to go over the cliff, or if I bleed the line, I'm either going to run into someone else that's coming in the opposite direction. I'm going to have a head-on collision. This is what happens in life because we haven't learned our parameters. Our boundaries, as we talked about yesterday, because we haven't learned our personal boundaries, what makes us the best at who we are. Sometimes we bleed our own lines. But guess what? All of our mistakes, our bad decisions, the good, the bad, the ugly, they helped us to identify us. So now that we have this history, we have this bag of experience, let's not look at it as bad and go want to throw it away and dig a hole and put it in there. No, we want to heal from the pain of it, and we want to learn the lesson from it. And we want to embrace that lesson so that we don't repeat it. So today, again, we're going to be talking about external triggers. What is it that triggers us externally to these bad behaviors, to these continual behaviors that keeps us stuck in this road of sameness, with this road where I'm doing head-on collisions, this road where I'm going off the cliff. What is it? Where, let me find my own boundaries where now I can drive my life, navigate through this life in my optimum self. But before we get through that today, I want to check in with you, see how you're doing, where you at, what's your mental health like today, what's your heart feeling, what you're doing. So I believe that Miss Lupe was on the line waiting first, and then I believe we had Miss Kashara, then Danny, then I think we had Miss Bianca, and Denise just chimed in. God bless you all. We're going to go ahead and check in that order. If we forget what I said, don't worry about it. Find an open space, just go ahead and check in. But we're going to start with Sister Lupe. Good morning, sweetheart. Go ahead and check in with us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm feeling optimistic. Doing the process for my interview. So wish me luck. Well, prayers really is what I need. So whatever God has in store for me, I'm excited and I'm stepping into my newness. Thank you.
Hey, congratulations in advance. Hey, congratulations. I love that. Keep me posted. Thank you, Sister Lupe. Go ahead, Miss Kashara. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to all. Good morning. Just blessed on this morning to be on the call amongst the group, those that give insight and those that encourage one another. Just really excited on today.
Yeah.
Just feeling a burst of expectation on today.
Yeah.
Really want to receive on today. I'm happy on today, but yet it's something else in there. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm excited, but there's something else. But for the most part, definitely always willing to embrace the group because I get so much from it.
Oh.
And just excited and anticipating what is gonna become of this group today. And I pray that it will just fill me up today, that I would overflow in the knowledge and the wisdom of what we have on today. Thank God for you, Ms. Jackson, and all of you that are in the group on today.
Thank you so much, Kashara. So good to hear your voice. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. We're feeling it, but at the same time, we're feeling some other things too. So like that's the thing. We're going to continue in our parameter of increase and forward momentum. We're abounding. We're abounding. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Go ahead, Danny.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody this morning?
Good morning.
Oh man, I was just on here this morning, just taking notes. I was listening to what you was talking about when you said what are some of my hindrances that keep me from moving into change. And then you put I wrote down identifying external triggers and then identify internal triggers. So what I want to do this morning, I just want to just listen and just take some notes like I've been doing.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen. Excellent. That's how we grow. Thank you. Thank you so much for checking in. Miss Bianca, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am doing well. Um, Chimed in a couple of minutes late, but I chimed in right on time. Um, my chiming in late was due to the fact that I was doing some decorations, declaring some things over my life.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, if that's a good term to use, is when I chimed in, some of the things that I was saying was some of the things that you were saying this morning. And started
Amen.
looking around like I know she wasn't in my house, and I know I wasn't on the phone with her, but I just give God glory and I give him honor on today. I too am optimistic, amen. Just believe in God and just let God be God in my life, experiencing, smelling, receiving the new that God has for not just for me, but for each and every one of us. And I'm very, very, very grateful. God has dropped some things in my spirit just on this morning, amen, concerning some things that I need to get done towards ministry. And I'm telling you, God, it's only the 6th of the month, and God has been speaking and He's been moving, and I'm just excited on what He is doing. Um, and I'm excited about the lesson because I know of some of the things that have hindered me. I won't even say just 2022, but has hindered me down through the years.
Yes.
I know some of those things. It ain't that I'm unaware. I know some of the things that have hindered me. But
Yes.
as I was making some decorations on this morning, those things will not be the same in 2023. Not for me.
All right.
Not for me. So
Hey.
I just want to get on into this lesson because I do have a lot that I'm going to say. So I'm just ready to get into the lesson. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. I'm loving that. Thank you so much, Miss Bianca. And last but definitely not least, Miss Denise, good morning. Go ahead and check in with us this morning.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise. Definitely a very grateful, recovering person, and a grieving person, and a lonely person, and I want to play some songs, but I gotta keep it moving today. I stayed home all day yesterday, and checking in. All I did was I wrote thank you notes.
Okay.
And I'm going to the post office later on. I'm going to the post office, and I text a few people to get their address so I can send them thank you notes. Um, I'm feeling all kind of ways. I'm not sure. I'm a little weepy, but I haven't let myself let go. I feel strong, and I feel, and I've declared before the Lord this morning that I'm not going down.
Yes.
That I'm not going down, and I'm not going into um certain things. I'm not going there. We're not going there. We're not having that. I got a whole lot that I'm facing, and it's ridiculous. And oh my, oh my. But I'm okay. I'm alive. I got some chili. I got some cornbread. I'm gonna leave that cornbread alone now. Let me tell you something. I was laid out after a bowl of that chili and cornbread. I was through. Somebody should have called the dietary police on me and my other people. And I said, Lord, I said we need to stop. But in any way, it was a blessing to be able to prepare that yesterday, to feel like getting up and cooking something,
Yeah.
to even get up and feel like cooking something. And I feel a comeback.
Come on now.
I feel a little bit of a comeback. One of the great outreach evangelists that I know, that is my model, one of my models, she lives up here.
Okay.
And she lives not too far from here.
Mm.
And I just asked her, I said, do you go to church down there and then come back, or do you pack up everything and take it down? And she says, I make 2 trips on Sundays. And I was thinking about, I may tell her that some Sundays I might ride with you for that income and help and help do the outreach ministry, because she does a big feeding ministry.
Okay.
And I give God the glory for that. And I think maybe not right now, but I'm gonna get involved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amen. Wow. You guys are coming into 2023 strong, and I love it. I love it. I love to hear Denise's process of healing. I love to hear Kashara's process of building. I love to hear Danny's process of engaging. I love to hear Bianca's process of building as well. You guys are amazing. Sister Lupe, I love to hear her process of healing, growing, building, and I can hear the renewing in her voice. It's just amazing, guys, what we can do when we start living from our best self. It does not mean that it's always going to feel comfortable. We got to get over our emotions. It doesn't always, and when I say get over it, please don't look at that as just emotions. That's not the case. Emotions need to be identified and understood. It's time that we stop doing splitting. We're splitting important parts of ourselves off, and it never gets healed. It never gets the right attention from us. So therefore, it kind of just floats around, and then when a trigger happened, it comes to the front, and you're wondering, why am I feeling this way all of a sudden? And I don't understand that I was triggered from, my pain from the divorce that I never dealt with, or my pain from when I lost my business that I never dealt with, my pain from when I lost my children and I never dealt with them. I've had clients who their children were adopted out. That means you'll never engage with your child again. They're adopted, not the family, they're adopted out to people that you don't know. You don't know what's going on with them. There's no way of you gaining contact. That kind of pain is pain that needs some attention. And sometimes it needs attention beyond yourself. You have to get professional help. But sometimes we just stay in survival mode. We stay in crisis mode. My crisis is I got to keep pushing. I can't let this get me down, but that thing will get you down, if not today, another day, or to get you into an addiction, or to get you into continuing those unhealthy behaviors. So again, as I was saying earlier, if you think of any ideas that of verbiage that I can utilize in my social medias and in my handouts to help people see the need, that's why I encourage you guys to please put your reviews on our website. Put your reviews there. They're going to automatically upload to Facebook. Put your reviews there, because then people can hear in your words what you gain from the group. And for those of you that's already done that, thank you so much, because they can read the reviews and see what you've gained, because I can't really advertise or market, if you will, what we do here. We're just about life change, so if you think of anything, shoot me a text, and I'll put it on our upcoming marketing strategies. So I'm so grateful today to talk about external triggers, because guess what? There's a lot of things that kind of continue us in the same cycle. Remember, we're breaking old cycles. We're breaking the sameness. We're breaking those things that keep us robotically moving in that circle. We talk about the Israelites, how they went around the mountain over and over and over and over and over again because they had not learned what it is that need to be addressed, or what it was that needed to be faced in their life so that they can move into their promise. They didn't deal with their rebellion. They didn't deal with their pride. They didn't deal with their self-importance. They didn't deal with that stuff. And they never even recognized that it was a problem. And that's how come sometimes people don't ask for our groups, because they don't recognize that this that I'm doing is a problem. Just like one day you didn't recognize that what you were doing was a problem. It just felt right. So here it is. We're finding out that external triggers can trigger us. Now, there's two types of triggers, internal and external. Internal triggers are things of the heart, things inside that trigger you, and we'll talk about that later. Today, we're going to talk about external triggers. External triggers are things that are out in our world, that are external, that trigger us into our old unhealthy behaviors or our current unhealthy behaviors. It keeps us in the cycle of sameness. So one thing that we want to do is identify these. Sometimes it's the people you hang with. Sometimes it's the places you go. Sometimes we have countertransference with some people. Sometimes we have memories or brain association, if you will. Let me explain how triggers work. Triggers work by way of brain association. Remember, brain association, your brain is your organ. It's an organ in your head, and it's very uniquely, it's complex, and it's functioning. But I find that what happens is your brain and all of its neurotransmitters, which are the brain chemicals, they all work together for the overall of the body. Now, one thing that we have to remember is we talk about mind, body, and soul. Soul is the you without the skin, the bones, and all this, that, and the other. It's the mind of the man. It's the mind of the person. So what happens is with the brain, because the brain has been there and it's done that, and it had a good time there, or it felt a sense of well-being there, it felt a release there, it felt something that rated high on its reward system, because that's how your brain rolls, that's how it functions. So what happens is whenever you're around that, it'll associate. Now, I use this example for internal more so, but it works the same way. If I go to a loved one's funeral and I'm just so overwhelmed in grief, I'm just so hurt because my loved one have left me unexpectedly or whatnot. Certain things happen when we're there at the homegoing service. You may hear certain songs, Precious Lord, Amazing Grace. You may remember the look of pain on your loved one's face. You may remember the heartbreak that you felt. You may remember the uniqueness of the casket. Certain things that you're not really trying to remember, certain things stick. So what happens is when you're going out in life, you'll see certain things you don't remember. Oh, that reminds me of when I was at. No, what happened, there's an automatic recall. There's an automatic functioning of the brain where your brain associates that you see, that stimuli, whether it's a hearse, whether it's the look of that loved one that was crying, whether it's that song that you heard, you in church, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden they sing Precious Lord or Amazing Grace, and you're wondering, why do I all of a sudden not feel as happy? Because you've been triggered. Your brain has been triggered 20 years ago when that loved one passed and Precious Lord played. So now there's a brain association. It's an automatic recall. It's not a sit down and let me try hard to remember type of thing. So this is why sometimes we're walking down the street, we're having a good time, we're living life, and then something happens with a friend or something happens with a car passing by, and something inside of us changed enough that it changes our mood. It changes our decision making. And we don't even know what happened because it happened in the brain. It was a brain association and it did an automatic recall. This can be for happy moments, sad moments. It could be association to use drugs or alcohol. It could be triggers of anger. Whatever they are, we have to identify it so we know how to handle it. I'm going to read a few and I'm going to open the floor for you to identify if these are external triggers to you to do certain bad behaviors. Okay. One, when home alone. When you're home alone, when you're kind of chilling by yourself, are you triggered to do some of those unhealthy behaviors, whatever they are, that you know don't mean you no good? You've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the cup, you know, got your face in the, you have your picture is by the word in the dictionary. So if when you're home alone, does that kind of, is that an external is that an external trigger that trigger you back into those behaviors? Or when home with friends, at a friend's house, at parties, at sporting events, at movies, at clubs. I'm going to pause there and I'm going to unmute the phone. I'm going to allow you to unmute your phone and share. Do you associate, does any of those identify to you as an external trigger that moves you into those unhealthy behaviors? Go ahead and share. None? I'll read some more. What about when you're at the beach? When you're at concerts? When you're at the park? What about when you gain weight? What about before? All right, go ahead. I done struck a nerve.
Now you were talking about triggers, different external triggers. I was listening to you. I was in the kitchen putting something on the soak. External triggers. Some positive, some negative, some neutral, some just jogged memories. I live by music.
Okay.
I live by music. I may not remember the exact date or what year this situation was or something, but when it comes to music, oh my goodness. Like summer before last, there's an old song from the 70s that reminded me when I was a little girl at River Rouge Park in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, environs, suburban, right outside of Detroit, and at a big family picnic. And it wasn't my family, but it was like an adopted family because when my mother moved to Detroit, we didn't have any blood kin there.
Okay.
We didn't have nobody there. So her friends were our family, and my stepdaddy's relatives and friends were our family. That's who we hooked up with. That's who we did holidays with. That's who we visited.
Yeah.
And just remember when I heard this song, I had this memory in my head for years, and I finally stumbled upon the song. I was in Palm Springs, rolling through the night, and I stumbled upon that song on YouTube.
Okay.
And it blew me way back to River Rouge Park as a little girl. And laying out in the sun and barbecue and hot dogs and those times. A lot of those elders are gone. One elder for sure of that time is still here.
Yes.
And I stay in touch with her. She's not my blood, but when I moved to Detroit, she lived upstairs over us, and she's been a lifelong family friend.
Yes.
And for some reason, if I had some money and I had means, I probably, not right now because of the snow, because it's cold out there. But as soon as it warm up, I would run over there, would jump on a plane and go be up in that lady's house, and she would get sick of me. She said, "Here come another one of my nieces," and I probably had my big butt up in her lap, whooping and hollering and everything else. Just the memories, and triggered places. I'm real mindful of the places that wasn't good for me.
Okay.
I thank God that He don't allow me to be so attached to certain places. See, I think about one of my last relapses and how all of a sudden I kept getting guided back to that place
Okay.
of
Okay.
where I was in the midst of, all out full blitzkrieg addiction.
Wow.
And I kept getting guided to that place. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
I go through there now because I have to pass through, and sometimes I walk through there to minister. But I just give God the glory. Like for me, it's music is a big association. For some people, it
Yes.
smells. Like if I smell like right now, if I smell a really good sweet potato pie cooking, I would lose my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my mama was the queen of sweet potato pies.
Yeah.
Or if I smell a good rum cake in the oven somewhere, I would go nuts.
Yeah.
I would go nuts like that puppy go nuts when she know I'm coming and I may have snacks. That dog can smell when I'm carrying a bone for her. I might be coming through the door with a bone and she knows it. I'm serious. I've never seen nobody like that. But yeah, just some triggers, memory triggers.
Yes.
And for some people, it will be associations. Like some people just can't afford to go back over to their old friend's house or over their
Right.
cousin in them house or over so on. So you just can't afford it.
Right.
If
Right.
that door have to be shut, thank you.
Thank you so much, Denise. I love that how you brought that out where triggers can trigger a lot of different associations. And oh my goodness, just listening to the beautiful memories, like that she was sharing, how listening to certain songs, music is a huge external trigger that can produce internal triggers. So I love that. Thank you so much. Triggers, they trigger pain and they trigger pleasure. It's an automatic recall. We have to learn how to cope with them all. Anyone else from those that I've just read? I'll read some more because I want to hear from you. What are some of your triggers that you've already identified as well? So we're going to get through this list, and then I just want to have an open mic for you to share, what you've identified, because we have to identify some of our major triggers. Now, you may have identified some of your good triggers, and that's beautiful, but I want to talk about those triggers that brings you back to those unhealthy behaviors. I love how Denise said there are some places that you just have to no longer subscribe to. Kill the subscription and go on about your life. And every time the thought comes back, or you bigger than that now, you're stronger than that, you probably won't do that. Kill the noise and don't even look back. Miss Bianca, were you about to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about weight,
Okay.
I believe, and I'm just saying it for right now because it just kind of hit me in a different place.
Okay.
I used to be much bigger than I am today.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Well, on weight loss, congratulations. You said I must be much bigger. So I guess you're not anymore. So that's a good thing, right?
No. But anyway, for some people would say yeah, but for me, no. But anyway. But when I was a little bit heavier, like 200, people would look at me and would say, wow, I never would believe she was 200 pounds. And I think I have reached 215 at one time.
Okay.
But that was danger. And the reason why I say it was danger because Bianca would act up.
Oh.
Yeah, she would act up in ways that were just not nice. Having every pound in its right place.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So having every pound in its right place and Nobody could tell you nothing different.
Okay.
So yeah, that right there, um, that would cause me to just not be.
Keep those unhealthy behaviors.
Yeah, that would. So maybe that's the reason why I'm small today, because God said, you know what, I need to keep my child saved. Okay, let me go.
But no, that's an excellent association though. You're minded that when you find, like you say, when every calorie or pound is in the right place, it does something to your mind. And I love how you brought that out. Thank you. Because there are some people that have these weight loss surgeries, and now all the weight is falling in the right place and they super fine now, as to where maybe they were overweight and they didn't get the attention of the opposite sex. And now that they super fine, now they getting all this attention and don't know what to do with it. I hear a lot of people, and they're getting into these relationships with people who just want sex. They get into, because they haven't had an opportunity to learn how to balance all of this new attention that they're getting. So like you said, now with your weight loss, it's kind of changed the way you view yourself. So there are changes that have automatically been made. So that's awesome. I love that association. Thank you so much, Bianca. Is there anyone else before I read on? All right. Let's see. Are we externally triggered when we're at the park, when we gain weight, before a date, during a date, after a date? What about before sexual activities? Are there some triggers before sexual activities, during sexual activities, after sexual activities? There's maybe some behaviors, to my group of recovering addicts from drugs and alcohol. We talk a lot about the associations of sex, because a lot of our I've had clients that say, Miss Jackson, I need you to teach a dating class, because he said on Valentine's Day, which Valentine's Day is coming, he said, instead of showing up with flowers and candy, he say, I show up with cocaine and money. It began to become normalized in his lifestyle because of the pool of women that he was used to dealing with. So now in recovery, those old associations, they'll continue to go put themselves in danger, bringing the cocaine and the money, or going to find prostitutes, because they don't know how to cope with, hi, how are you? My name is Jimmy, and would you like to have a cup of coffee with me? They don't have that confidence because they didn't go through that maturation process. So anyway, just wanted to drop that, because sometimes our behaviors keep us from that. If we're used to just, impulsive sex, now in our recovery, we got to deal with that. And we're going to talk about that later on in our program. What about before work? Any of those times, do you, before you go to work, is that maybe a external trigger for you to do those old behaviors? Please, Denise, go right ahead.
Okay, you were talking about some of these triggers that we deal with in recovery. I'll share this with you. I've been out the game for a long, 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 long time. I have dust and cobwebs, and ain't nobody paid me no attention in years and years and years. Every now and then, some old wino will look up out the gutter and holler, "Baby, you look good," and that ain't even happened in a long time. But But it's like, oh well, you had your time, and when you was looking cute, you was a hoe. You was a stone hoe. So, you know, so I'm a grateful recovering hoe. True story. But
True
anyway,
story. I love that.
but now I'm gonna talk about something in early recovery many years ago.
Mm,
That learning how to deal with sex, because for us, like being a low bottom crackhead, I dealt with sex in terms of, all right, we're exchanging sex for this.
right, right. It was a
And or
tool.
we're exchanging sex to get some money so we can go do this.
Right.
And that's all it was.
Right.
And for me, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. It's not a secret though, but it's something I would share sometimes. But I had no problem sharing. For me, crack cocaine. The only good thing about crack cocaine, it totally numbed me and kept me numb.
Okay.
Well, I didn't need no affection no more. I didn't need no attention no more, except give me another hit. I didn't need nothing except another hit. That's all I needed was another hit.
Yeah.
I didn't need love no more. I didn't need nothing. All needs was put on hold for the next hit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All unmet needs was put on hold for just the next hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend at that time years ago in early recovery, and we was trying to figure out what to do in the hotel room without crack. Me and this guy.
Okay.
We looked at each other. We was both new because I said, "Dang, this is weird." We
Right.
looked at each other. I said, "We ain't got no dope, and we're sober. Now what? I don't know. Maybe we'll kiss. I don't know." We was just sitting up there just looking at each other because we was used to checking in the motels to get dope, to get high.
Yes.
And it was
Yes.
crazy. Now, for a lot of men, years ago, at the old 3801, I used to frequent the old OG 3801 down on Western.
Uh-huh.
And some of these little slick Negroes would say, would you, like I was about maybe 3 years sober, and they would say, "Would you sponsor me?" I said, "You know what?" And I look at them, I see you little shifty, shady characters. I said, "I tell you what, since I live right down the street, come down to my house. I want you to get a notebook. I want you to bring some pens and some pencils or whatever you write best with,
Mm-hmm.
and bring your big book." And what I used to do, I used to work with men, but this is how I got to learn a lot about men.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work with them up to the third step, and then I would help find them a sponsor.
Okay.
That a guy that I knew that was knew his story and knew his background. That
Mm-hmm.
after I get to know you through this, I said, "I'm gonna take you through the first three steps," and they would think, "Oh, I'm going over to Denise's house and we gonna no, baby." We sit down on the floor. I had a big coffee table. We sit on the rug and
Mm-hmm.
we sit down and we deal with these steps and we go through the book and but I learned from them that a lot of them, and it was a sad thing for them
Mm-hmm.
because they had their sexual needs was tied up with crack cocaine.
Right.
And they came of a generation where even the prettiest girl who had fallen into addiction, you could now get her and just go
Right.
get some rocks and she's yours for the evening,
Yes.
however long the rocks last. And that's all many of them knew. They had no finesse
Yes.
came to trying to talk to women. So many of them, when they would get lonely or randy or whatever, get how men are who they are.
Yeah.
That they would often, rather than risk getting hurt or some girl telling them, "No, baby,
Check.
I ain't hollering at you, or you ain't my flavor," or whatever. Because most of us was in our 20s and 30s and some in our early 40s at that season,
Mm-hmm.
and that they would relapse because sexual activity was associated with their crack addiction. Nowadays, with that meth addiction, meth is doing for men what crack promised but ultimately failed to do. You understand what I'm saying, Mrs.
I do.
Jackson, because you're a drug counselor,
I do.
but you understand exactly. And so that is one of the areas that keep them tied up in that cuckoo-ness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's something there, for a lot of women. I've noticed that a lot of, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of women that was messing with this guy, that guy, and the other one when we was in the mix, now they're homosexuals
Mm-hmm.
because they cannot stand the touch of a man.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's part of that. That may be part of it, that they cannot stand the touch of a man, and maybe probably had to do with molestation issues prior to, et cetera, et cetera. But I just shared that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that shows the complexity of an external trigger, of any sort of trigger. It shows the complexity because our experiences, everything, the memory of what we experience in life is housed in our soul, and our brain has a way of holding the memory to the organ of our life, and as well as the soul holds the memory, and how it processes is so different sometimes from the brain, from the physical brain to the natural spiritual soul of a man. Sometimes it meshes, and that's why it takes time to unmesh that thing. And sometimes it affects us in life. Some people may say, hey, it's no problem, you just do it. And some people have so much wrapped around that they can't even get to the point of just do anything. So thank you so much. Some of these things that we haven't dealt with lead us back to our unhealthy behaviors, and we don't associate it. So I'm gonna read a few others. After work, when carrying money, after going by certain people's house, when you're with drug using friends, when you're with other friends, when you're going past the liquor store. What about after payday, before going out to dinner, before breakfast, at lunch break, while at dinner, after passing a particular freeway exit, at school, while driving, in the neighborhood? I want to hear from you. What settings have caused you to just kind of relapse in your old unhealthy behaviors? Go ahead, Brother Danny.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Hey, you just said something about going to your old neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Whenever I haven't been in a while, since my car has been acting up. I would go over there to certain friends' house or whatever, and just to visit them. They don't have to be gang members or drug dealers, just friends I grew up with in the neighborhood
Right.
that, like I said, may not be gang banging or may not be selling drugs, but associate with those people.
Right.
So whenever I go over there and I'm sitting there with them, then it rises in me my old way of doing things, wanting to do this again, wanting to affiliate myself with this kind of conversation and this kind of joking. um, um, just whatever my old ways of doing things
Function.
that has held me down or
Uh,
has kept me from moving forward
yeah.
within myself. Going back to these familiar places will re-resurrect things on the inside of me, even though I have no intentions on these things arising. It's just being there.
Just does. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Just being
yeah.
there.
It's just being there and laughing and joking with these folks will cause these dead things to re-resurrect on the inside of. And it may not be right then and there. It could be 2 or 3 days later at home
Yes.
or
Yeah.
somewhere else. They're like, why do I feel like doing this again? Why is this going on inside of me?
Wow.
And it's because I went over there and things were planted on the inside of me that I didn't know.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't feel the harvest of it until it begins to
Still
protrude
in
through these.
harvest.
Yes, yes, that's me. Amen.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And I love that you identified that. Like you said, when I go over, I may not be in the thick of my old behaviors, but just associating to a little bit of the neighborhood of where I come from, it opens that door again. It unleashes that beast, and like you said, I take on that again. I'm triggered to the old man. I've shared with you guys, I had a former client that he used to say, if you judge me now, he said, if you condemn me or convict me for things that I've done, he said, you'd be convicting an innocent man. I'm not that man. And he's learned that there's certain places that I can't go anymore, not in fear of the police or in fear of what's going to happen, but because of what it does to me and my change. Certain music that we don't listen to no more. A lot of you guys have talked about anger issues, fighting anger. When we're fighting this anger, we must realize that there's certain music that we can't listen to. I don't want to put rap on the chopping block, but some raps at least you got to be mindful because they encourage certain things. Even some of the clothes that you wear. You may say, you know what, Miss Jackson, you just kind of going a little too far. But I want you to know these are all triggers. You know, I call myself a feminine woman. I'm not a tomboyish, so to speak. But when I have some jeans on, especially if I put some Levi's on, you know, I start feeling some kind of way. You know, from, you know, when I used to run the street, when I used to run with the gangs and, you know, little stuff like that, I start feeling some kind of way. And my walk is different. I'm no longer that little feminine little lady. You know, all of a sudden my walk is different. It's like, girl, what, you on the set or something? What's happening? But I realized that even what I put on triggers an inner me in our brain association. So we have to identify it. Certain lessons in music that you listen to, it triggers that inner you. So anyone else, what other settings, what other activities, what other people trigger you to your unhealthy behavior?
Good morning, Miss Jackson. This is Miss
Hey, Miss
Melinda.
Melinda. Good morning.
Good morning to everyone on the line. Well, for me, it was music, certain
Okay.
songs.
Okay.
Oh boy, certain songs. That's why I don't listen to that music anymore. I listen. The only thing on my station now is 100.3, and it's the love station. It's the gospel station
Caleb.
yes, Caleb. That's what I listen to because I say about 9 or 10 months ago, I'm just going through the station. I used to listen to the Wave, and one song I just heard just the music coming on. I hurried up and turned it
Okay.
from that station because that one certain song, then later on, I start humming it in my head, and then start humming it, and I was like, oh Lord, no, 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 and then memories came up. I was like, oh no, Lord, just please help me. So yeah, certain songs.
Yes.
A couple of certain songs would just trigger me with my old behavior, like the
Yeah.
promiscuous behavior, the getting high behavior, the
Mhm.
drinking behavior,
Yeah.
and the hanging out behavior.
Yes.
Certain songs would just take me there. I'd be on my way home from work, and then I hear a song, and where I end up in the place where I didn't need to be.
Don't need
So
to
yeah.
be.
Yes, ma'am. So it's certain songs with me. So that's why I just stick to K Love.
I love that. Thank you so much for chiming in, Melinda. I saw you call in, but I didn't know if you were able to participate. I'm so glad you were, because what you said is just so key that sometimes music, when we find what does not work for us, let's recognize it. I talk about Superman a lot. Superman had awesome, great supernatural powers. He can leap from a building with a single bound, but guess what? He also had a great weakness, which was kryptonite. But now, once you recognize that kryptonite don't work for you, just because I've been having kryptonite around me all my life, can't just get rid of it now. Why not? Why not? Just because you've been listening to this music that may be moving you. I tell a lot of people, if you're single, you're trying to live celibate, this ain't the time to listen to Luther Vandross. This ain't the time to listen to, those little songs that's going to touch you in that romantic way, and you don't have anyone that you want to be romantic with. That's going to develop frustration. That's going to develop isolation or some wrong decision makings. And it doesn't help us to live our best self. So we have to find the boundary. I love how Melinda said she found the boundary, even though, hey, I like that song. I love that song. But just because I like it, like Paul said, just because it's lawful doesn't mean it's expedient, doesn't mean it's beneficial to me. Just because it's lawful to smoke weed in California don't mean that I'm finna go and grow me a rose garden or a weed garden. They were trying to legalize cocaine in Colorado. That don't mean that on my way through to Texas, I'm gonna stop at Colorado and have me a little hit or two, because it's not beneficial to me. So if you find whatever your triggers are, identify them as what they are. They may not be extremely life-threatening, but guess what? If they affect your life in a negative way, let's move them out the way because they can become extremely life-threatening. Anyone else?
Man, they make you laugh. Look, you talking about music, Miss Melinda. Look, listen. When I used to have a long commute, and back in the late 90 into 2000, I had a long commute in like year 2000, and sometimes I would have to drive my car because I was too late for the carpool. So on the way back, now I had started listening to that doggone Snoop Dogg. Okay, I like the G-Funk era.
Come
Now,
on now.
I've never been deep up in the rap. I started listening to Slim Shady, Eminem, because of one of my young people that love Eminem.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let me listen to what they listen to. He all right.
Right.
But I was listening to that G-Funk, and what was happening, I would be stuck in the traffic jam on the way back. And then my hands start reaching under my seat for my pistol. And the attitude, and it's one song, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is one song, it's kind of still my theme song. It's by this guy called Tech Nine or whatever, what that boy name? But called Pistol Grip Pump in my lap at all times. Pistol Grip Pump. You mess with other fools, but you won't mess with mine. You and that's what. And sometimes I play that song with my headphones when I'm at work. Cause you know who I'm with at work. I'm thinking, Pistol Grip Pump in my lap at all times. Pistol Grip Pear in my lap at all times. Pistol
you
Grip
ready?
Pear. You can mess with other fools, but you won't mess with mine. Leave me alone. But you
did make me laugh.
I'm an outrage. But really in the music area, seriously though, now for those of us who got a particular higher power, it's the spirit behind the music.
Yes.
Because what music was meant to glorify him.
Yes.
But a lot of this music don't glorify him. It glorifies sin.
Yes. Yes.
It glorifies, let's go do something crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go drink some.
Yes.
I heard that, I'm not familiar with all the rappers nowadays, but I heard that what they're rapping about is awful. Kill, murder, get high, use each other like toilet paper. You understand? And throw each other away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can a people be decent and you're programmed with this?
Yes.
That's real talk. So, like the thing is like with us, Brother Danny, I wouldn't even kick it with them no more. I mean, they're not on the same page. Yeah. I mean, anybody like at a point like I might drift. God had to, for me to go back around my old homies, he had to push me up in there. Okay. He had to literally, I'm riding up Manchester and I'm shouting and singing in the car. I'm shouting and hollering and bucking in the car, and then push to go down. I don't want to go down there, God. Why you want me? He wanted me to go down there on purpose. And out of that visiting, the times that I visit was 2 souls saved.
Wow.
But I don't, but you know what? I'm not looking for them people. I'm not checking for them folk because we're on 2 different trajectories.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking for my buddies on this side of the street.
That's right.
And that is rare. I mean, we may have the same higher power, but we might have some different ideologies and different footsteps. I need to hang with the evangelists, the real evangelists, the hardcore evangelists. That's who I need to be with. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much, Denise. Exactly. Identifying how to shift people in those 3 P's from my private life, my personal life, and my public life. She found I don't want them in my life, but because of assignment, sometimes God will send you back for a purpose to your public life. Go ahead, Miss Bianca.
All right. So for me, I heard you say about we used to put on a pair of jeans and it took you back to a set life.
Yeah.
But for me, when I used to put on a pair of jeans. It didn't take me to the set life, but
Right.
you know, I was fine. I had hips and everything like that. Um, but that's not my story today. That's not my story today. But I
You
just want
still fine, Miss Bianca. You still got hips. They may not be 200 pounds worth.
oh my goodness. But a place that like people and places. One place that I do not and have not went to is El Torito's. That's not a place that I go and sit. Although I'm thinking that their food was good then, so it may have gotten better now from the time that I have not been there. But with that being said, I
But
know that
still,
one of the eye catchers for me was the margaritas.
I like that. The eye catchers. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so since that was really the eye catcher for me, that's a place that I do not choose to go to.
Perfect.
You know, I
Perfect.
love Mexican food, especially if it fixed well, but I can't go to El Torito's. Now, the thing about that is I could go to other places because other places, other restaurants, they do sometimes have where they have alcohol in those places.
Right.
You know,
But you have
never
no association, right?
right. But going to El Torito's, that's the place that I have to keep myself from is El Torito's because again, those margaritas was the one that drew me there in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Knowing what you must avoid and avoiding it. That's wonderful. Brother Danny, go right ahead.
As she said, the triggers. You mentioned earlier. I think you said something to the fact about clothes. Uh, even in the attire we wear.
Right.
Yeah, I come from a neighborhood where Crips are, and so coming from that, most of my attire is blue. Things I wear is blue, and even though I don't claim that anymore, and I don't affiliate myself with that anymore, I still find myself dressing like that. I still find myself wearing the blue shirt, the blue sweatshirt, the blue pants, and I'm always in blue. Well, yesterday I was out yesterday, and as I dressed myself, I was in all blue, and I had to go out to my car and handle some things. And I'm living in a blood neighborhood, and as they was the like 5 or 6 houses down the street from where I am, it was like about 4 or 5 gentlemen out there, and I hear them saying out loud, yeah, blood, this such and such and such. But I know that it was aimed towards me. But when I paid attention to it, that's when I begin to realize, wow, it's because they're trying to get a reaction up out of me because of what I'm wearing. So like you said, these external triggers, and we haven't even started talking about the internal triggers as yet. But these external triggers can be detrimental to us.
Yes. They'll keep you in the lifestyle. Little
Yes,
by little,
yes.
they lures, just like you identified. Yes.
Right. So I've been telling myself, okay, the next time I get a hold to a little bit of money, I'm gonna completely change my attire. I'm not gonna be wearing all this blue and these khakis anymore. Like it's because I don't want to be affiliated with that. Because every time I go somewhere, people may not even know who I am, but when I can go to the gas station, or I'll be going to the store, or just at the market, and I can hear somebody say, "Hey, hi, hey, what's up, OG? How you doing, OG?" And they affiliate me.
How'd you know?
And I would say like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good, homie. How you feeling, man?" But I don't like it. I don't like being called OG. I don't like somebody looking at me and they can tell, man, this dude was from somewhere, or he's from somewhere, and I don't like that because my life is being changed inside out, and being that God is changing me, well, that God has given me the knowledge and the strength to change myself, is becoming a discomfort to me now.
Okay.
My old nature and doing different things. As I said before, I can go to my neighborhood and I can start talking to some of my homeboys, and somebody come by and begin, "What's up, King Radney?" Begin to spark up. Then we start a conversation. Next thing we know, we talking about what happened in the 80s.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, So for me, is it a battle? Yes, it's a battle, but it's not it's not the battle that it was when I first came into it, when I didn't really
Right.
pinpoint or really didn't know. But
Yes.
now that I know, I feel I have a little bit more strength and a bit much more help on my side now to conquer this and overcome this.
Yeah.
So this is where I am from day to day.
Yeah.
Not just changing my inner man, but my inner man and is spilling over to my outer man and making me
Yes.
uncomfortable
Yes.
with how I dress or who I'm talking to. So
Yeah.
I found myself saying to the Lord the other day, like, wow, man, I don't feel like a punk, a coward, but I feel kind of soft, you know. And that's because God is pruning things from me
Yes.
and taking
Yes.
things from me that I had used as my weapons, not at just only as a weapon, but as my shield and as my cover. And now that these things are being removed, I feel naked.
Yes. Vulnerable. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So then that's when I have to say to God, okay, man, I'm gonna really, really need your help here. Because if you don't give me the strength to make it through this, I'm gonna either stand still or I'm gonna go back where I feel comfortable at. And it's not really comfortable back there.
Right. Right. Right.
And so that this fight, this change of self, the internal and the external,
Yeah.
is really it's a battle, but being a battle, it's a battle that's won already because this
Yeah.
is really not who we are.
Right. Right.
So I thank God for it because the people around me notice. They notice the change. They notice the difference. Because I'm not into a lot of conversations anymore. Things I would get in and they would be laughing and joking about those things. I don't laugh and joke about it, even though I sometimes it would be like, man, what do you think about that? You think that was kind of funny, huh? And I really don't say anything. And people can take offense of that, thinking that, oh, this dude is don't like me, but it's not like that.
Right.
It's something that's going on inside of me.
Inside of you.
Yes. So with the change, we got to understand and know that it's going to cause people to feel a certain type of way towards us.
Uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because you're
Yes.
different. You're different now. You're not the same as when you used to be in that setting. We're changing, and that's how come people become repositioned in our life because they can't handle it. They never they never knew this you. They never
Exactly.
could connect to this you. They never could love this you in some cases. So now that you are evolving and developing into this version of you, they don't know how to handle that.
You know, Pastor, my kid's mother, whenever I do talk with her or whenever I do see her, she begin to recognize in me some things because a lot of things I don't know, it's the spirit of God in me where a lot of things I don't conversate about a lot of things anymore. I don't you can say something to me and I'd be like, oh, okay, or whatever it is, but the conversation is not there like it used to be.
Right.
And sometimes I can feel the uncomfortability from somebody else because they're uncomfortable with around me,
Yeah.
and I can feel that, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, so I had to ask the Lord, man, what's this thing is crazy
Yeah.
because I'm not trying to really purposely make anyone feel uncomfortable around me, but because of the change that's going in my life, they don't
Absolutely.
they the person that they met or knew
Right.
previously is vacating the premises, and this new person is like, okay, this this don't add up because this dude right here is he's off the chain with it. He's turned up with it, but now there's something different in him. It's not. I don't see that
Right.
stuff in him no more.
That's right.
So
Oh,
I'm sitting back and I'm just thanking God and I'm just enjoying what's going on.
enjoying the change.
Yes, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Danny. That is amazing. And you're absolutely right. As we walk into change, that's why some of those relationships, they're going to do you the favor and vanish. Some people you will have to say goodbye. Some people you'll just have to move on from. Some people you just have to reposition. But there's some people that's going to walk away because their connection is not with this new, better version of yourself. Their connection is with someone else. There was this show that came on, Power, and the man at the key person asked the key actor character asked his wife, what did you think I was going to be, in life? What attracted you to me? Why do you love me? And she said you was going to be the biggest dope dealer, in all of New York. But what happened was he wanted to get out of the dope dealing game. He wanted to get out the dope dealing game, but all she could see in him was the powerful dope dealer that he was. So she never supported his change, and it opened the door to infidelity, as the storyline went, but it's somebody's life. It opened the door to infidelity, someone that wanted to support his dreams. So, it changes even who we date, who we give time to, because you're now transitioning, and this is what recovery is all about. You're now transitioning to this better version of yourself, and it's going to transition you to different choices, different decisions, different people that you want to spend your time with, different ways you want to spend your time. Go ahead, Melinda. Go ahead and share.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I identify with Miss Bianca. Now, I don't go to Chili's anymore, the Chili's restaurant anymore, because of
Okay.
the simple fact that, and I don't wear a certain dresses and certain perfumes anymore, because when I put on that perfume and that dress to Chili's, I headed, because that was where I call my office. I
Okay.
call that my office, because that's where I used to go and sit at the bar and get meet gentlemen, older gentlemen, and just be the person where I thought I should be. But
Right.
now when I look back on that, I was like, oh Lord, have mercy, Jesus. So now when my goddaughter and them had a function, actually, I told them, you know what? I'll send you, I'll cash app you something, or either I'll give you something for your birthday later on. But Chili's, I will not go to.
Will not go.
I will not go to. And then getting back with Mr. Danny, like when he says how you change, and then people don't accept the new change in you, and then they
Right.
say, "Well, you better than." No, I don't think I'm better than. I'm just not that person that I used to be. I don't want to be that person that I used to be. And like my pastor says, you have to, when you change your life, you have to go by the standards of God, and then you have to have those 3 P's in your life. You have
Yeah.
to have a public, a personal, and a private. So,
Yeah.
some people now that I thought that were my friends, but once I start changing,
Mm-hmm.
they stopped coming around me. They stopped talking to me. Matter
Mm-hmm.
of fact, this girl that we were friends for a long time, she won't even talk to me. She won't even call me. And I asked her why, and she can't even give me a reason why. And then she told me, "With you change. And I don't even know who you are." Well, if you don't know who I am, we'll try to get to know. Then she told me, well, she don't even want to get to know me, because the
I don't
old
like this person.
yeah,
Yes.
I don't like this person. I'm like, wow, okay, well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just took it to God, and God said, don't worry about that.
Don't worry.
I know who you are, and you know who you are. So just pray for that person.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because this is where it goes back to our boundaries. Once we decide to become a better version of ourselves, it doesn't mean everyone around us is going to be ready for that change. Because I got to that place on the stages of will change, because I got that to that place where I'm ready for change. They weren't ready for me to change. That happens in marriages. One person outgrows the other. It happens in relationships, intimate relationships, family relationships. This is why we have to still hold on to our boundaries. And I like how Miss Belinda shared how, they tried to make her feel guilty. Oh, you feel like you better than us. You feel, no, I'm just doing what's better for me. And they don't know that version of you. They have no no connection with that version of you. May not even like it because now this version of you is not someone that they would choose to associate with. So that's how come we try to hold on sometimes to people that we can't hold on to because what connected us, we don't have anymore. So you're trying to hold on to a relationship that don't fit. Danny, go ahead and speak. Danny, are you trying to speak?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me turn. I was asking. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
Turn
no
it.
problem at all. No problem. Anyone else before we close out? This is a very good dialogue because sometimes so many people, we feel committed to staying in a relationship, friendship, familyship, or whatever, because we feel guilty, because people not ready for us to change. They still want us to be who we were. It's not them being mean or bad or trying to keep you down. It's just, well, for some, but normally it's just them holding on to the you that they know. That's it. They're holding on to the you that they know, and you don't want to be that you anymore. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to come out of sameness. I'm ready to break the cycles. I'm ready to move forward. And if that person or those people aren't ready, I have to get into a place like this where I have a support to help me continue in that change, because I can't depend on those that's not ready for that change to support me. Go ahead, Miss Melinda.
Okay, and then another thing too, Miss Jackson. And then the same person I'm talking about, I normally used to take them to the doctor's appointments and things like that. So now their granddaughter is in that field. So now I said, since I have the new addition to my life, the baby in my life, and then the person went on to say, well, can't you change their appointments and take me to mine? No, I cannot, and I am not. No. And then they got then they got angry and said, well, then fine. Then if you don't want to do that, and if you don't want to do what then there's no need for us to even go further enough. Well, you know what? If that's the way you feel, then it's okay.
Thank God.
Because God, other than God, she's important to me. And then on the other hand, before you feel this type of way towards me, you told me in another breath that you was happy that I had the baby, and since the baby's in my life, that the baby has changed my life in a good way. Not saying that I wasn't a good person before, but in a good way, and they were happy that I
It
have
brought
the
out
baby. But
something
now,
else in
since
you.
I can't do what you want me to do when you want me to do it, now you don't. I'm like, wait, hold on. I was kind of. I'm like, wow, really?
Yeah. You
Oh,
see, some relationships were all predicated on what you could do for them. Oh, I'm
yeah.
glad you got the baby, until the baby becomes an interference and our method of friendship. And we don't know these things till it happened.
I was like, really? I was taken back for that for a minute. But then I said, you know what? I remember what my apostle said. Once you start changing and once God start elevating you, the people around you, they see that, and then they go they feel some type of way.
Yeah.
You know?
They have a different response. And it'll
Yeah.
shock you sometimes, like you just said. Like,
I
wow.
was taken back for a minute. I was.
Yeah.
But then I prayed and asked the Lord, and the Lord told me, you know what? Remember, I told you this. Get out of my way and let me handle that person.
Wow.
And you just go on and continue doing what I have instructed you to do, because this person, they need my help. They don't need your help. So I remember my apostle told me that too. Get
Wow.
out the way.
Get out the
Get
way.
out the way. You want to help people, but some people, you only can help them as far as God wants you to help them. And then after that, you pray for them, you give them to God, and leave it there, because God can do for them better than you can.
That's right. He
Yeah.
he know how to do it. He know how to do it. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow. And these are the things that we have to recognize as we're recognizing our external triggers today. These are things we have to recognize and we have to accept. Remember, we talked about acceptance. There's some things we have to accept. Some of those friendships were so surface level, they were so carnal, they were so just super fluid that we thought it was something worth holding. We've even changed our life to maintain some of these friendships. And it just, we find as we continue on in our journey that it's just, it wasn't a friendship at all. It was just a ship. It's 11 o'clock. Miss Denise, go right ahead and we're going to close out.
Real quick. Remember this, folks, that people are agents. People are agents. And I have to ask myself, what kind of agent am I? There have been times when I have been an agent of evil, leading folk right down the rotten path I was on, taking them where they got it good, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And so now I have to look at assess individuals in my life, and how I kind of had to come down to about zilch, almost zilch, because they did not pass the test of what type of agent are you, and what I'm talking about. Even in the house of God, they did not pass the test.
Yes,
I'm serious. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. All of you guys are amazing. And I love the life change that you're in. Keep moving forward. Don't let anything or anyone stop you. We want to, again, just share with everyone. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for just your giving. Just want to continue doing what we do. We haven't obtained funds yet and grants and things like that. We want to continue the things that we do. So I just wanted to let you know that you can feel free to send your donations. If you send them electronically, you can send them by Cash App, $ Joy Life Centers, or by Zelle. Contact number 310-756-3780. Please, if there's anyone that you know that would benefit from our assembly here, give them my phone number so that I can go ahead and do an assessment with them, see what behaviors they're trying to overcome, because I'd love to implement them and join them as a participant to our group. So I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And what we're doing here is helping you, and you feel that it helps someone else, refer them to me. Refer them to me. We're trying to build this platform so that it can get to a place of stability that we can also step out and do our in-person meetings, and that we can have other meetings. One of the meetings that I want to do, this one is from 9:30 to 11, but I want, as soon as I get some funding in, I want to also do set an additional meeting, especially for those, as Denise shared, I am a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm an addiction specialist. So I would like to even have another personal group for those that are specifically trying to overcome the disease of addiction in the area of drugs and alcohol. So like I say, we're growing, we're expanding. We want to do some things in the building. We want to open the doors Monday through Friday. We want to have our paying customers, and we want to have our community customers. There's so many, our community participants. There's so many things that we want to do, but we know that it takes money. We know that it takes time. We know that it takes love. And I just thank God for each and every one of you, because you guys are making the change. And once the change is made in you, you can go forth and share that change with someone else. And like I said, we're going to change the world. God bless you guys. I love you. And I'll hear from you on tomorrow. God bless you. Hey, live free.
Monday.
Oh, today is Friday. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you so much. We'll talk on Friday. I'll be on here by myself tomorrow. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.